To all your love that has been in vain. Yeah, so the thing is that, for myself, I'm somebody who really loves and cares deeply. And I think about how much of my love has been in vain, to a certain degree, or not maybe in vain, but that hasn't been utilized by others. It hasn't been, it has been a benefit, there's no question about it, And what I mean by love, I'm talking about support, I'm talking about, understanding for the person, I'm talking about, mental, spiritual, physical support of others. That's kind of what I mean by love, an affection, an energy of concern, right, for the individual, an energy of an intention for well-being for the person, for gain growth, for accomplishment, for self-actualization, for awareness, etc. That has gone a lot in vain. A lot of it has been that has been given out has been not really made much use of, hasn't been fully embraced or fully understood, fully realized, fully appreciated, fully utilized, fully valued, and I think it's the case for probably all of us that are listening to some degree or another, because we love on a soul level, and we wish for the soul of the other to come out and play, to not be afraid, to not be held back by forces of ego and persona and fear and conditioning, and and we love on a soul level. We assist on a soul level. We advise on a soul level. And for most people, they don't understand what I've been talking about, I've realized. Or it's not their time, so, which is both at the same way. Like, some people understand what I'm talking about, and some people can feel my love, but it's too much for them. It's too real, it's too raw, it's too intimate, it's too severe, it's too exposing, it makes them too vulnerable. It's like, you can see me. I don't like that you can see me. I'm uncomfortable that you can see me. Because as who I am, and I'm sure who you are listening to this, you do the same. And most people in your life have probably not approved of that or felt comfortable with that, about who you are, about what you do. And I felt uncomfortable and got upset with you and angry, and also they probably felt that I know what you want from me, but I can't be that for you or even for myself. Maybe they've only looked at it and said, well, you just want it, for yourself. And we don't want it for ourselves, first and foremost. We want it for the other. Somewhat of a new friend of mine who I'm trying to assist in different ways, we only just recently met, said, why are you helping me? At first I said, I don't like that word, I'm not helping you. I'm just being your friend, and I can assist. And I'm assisting because I don't like to see you in pain. I don't like to see you in the circumstances that you are in, and I believe that I can help you. And it's like, it was so foreign, I still don't understand why. What's in it for you? You know, how am I going to help you? I said, you are helping me if you're using that word again. You are helping me. How am I helping you? I said, by allowing me to express who I am, to help use my resources, because it makes me happy to see that you are well. This is so important. This is so important. Most of the conscious person's motivation, the heartful person's motivation, and yes, I'm talking about myself, I'm blowing my own horn here, maybe I deserve to do it. Most of the intentions, the motivations, are for the well-being of others. It's not that, oh, well, you know, I want it for me. You know, like, I don't know, maybe a man wants the woman to get a boob job and, you know, dye her hair blonde or something like that, and I lose a lot of weight, and it's like, well, for who? It's for him, you know. I want you to, you know, again, it's what I see about you that I want for myself, for my own self-pleasure, right? Or we see in one another where it is that we can control one another. You know, like in friendship, we make friendships, we make relationships a lot of the time so we can control the other person, so we can manipulate the other person. This is the opposite of what I'm talking about, obviously. You know, because it's just within the conscious, heartful person's nature for the well-being. It's not for applause, it's not for compliment, it's not for status, you know, it's not for reputation or anything like that. It's just on the soul level of me seeing you content, or whatever. No, I wouldn't say content, but I'm using the emotion of content, peace, at peace, you know, well-being, let's just say, healthy. That for me, you know, is again the prime motivation. That is the motivation. And it's not like, well, you need to give me anything back, in a way. But there is an exchange, there is some kind of exchange, because when you open your heart to another, you know, you need to be respected. If you're not going to be respected in the process, then, you know, that's what you expect, that's what you need from the other person. You know, you can't just be unconditional in this world. In a sense, I mean, you can be, but not really. Because the other person has got to toe the line to some degree. You know, even if they're growing slowly, even if they're bettering themselves slowly, fine, inch at a time, when they could even be taking steps at a time. But it's like, in the process, don't disrespect me, you know, don't take, I mean, you know, you're taking me for granted, but don't do it deliberately. Don't try and manipulate me, type of thing, obviously. So it's like, what is it that the conscious person wants for the unconscious? I'm talking about on a world level, for the whole of humanity. You know, why is it that we get frustrated with people that are just towing the agendas, towing the line of the agendas? Why? Why is it that we see, you know, people taking the knee and it frustrates us? Why is it that we see them believing that their vote counts? Why do we care? It offends us, of course. You know, why is it that, whatever it is, you know, capitulating to a system, that to culture, to losing who they are? Why does it? I mean, obviously it bothers us because we see harm, we see hurt, we see pain, we see suffering, we see delusion. And that obviously does trigger us, that does upset us, tremendously upsets us. We live in a very upsetting town, very upsetting world. Very, very upsetting. And it will lead to disappointment. Because we believe in the potential, we believe in the spirit, we believe in the heart of the soul, of the individual, of the person, that can be better, the potential that lies within them. I'm saying on a global level, it's like, come on people now, wake up, don't be somebody else's fool. And it's not because, well, I'm smarter than you, and I know more than you, and I'm more intelligent than you, I'm more conscious than you, I'm more enlightened than you, or something like that. It's not like that at all. You know? It's a desire to say, I believe in you. You are divine. You are godly. You do not have to settle. You do not have to be a slave. You know, you do not have to be a sheep. We use that word again. You do not have to just follow blindly and aimlessly and sacrifice yourself for the greater cause of somebody else's agenda and somebody else's plan. Please don't do it. Please. I love you. I care for you. I want your soul to be elevated in this existence, not, to be de-elevated. So that's the real intention. There's a lot of other intentions of people being like, well, how many people have I woken up in my life? How many people have I told, exposed the agenda to the cabal and whatever it is? How many subscribers have I got that, and these things are important to a certain degree, I'm saying, but not from just the intention of like, it's that you are, it's because of how brilliant you are. Or something or other. I know it's a fine line. But sometimes I just don't really know if so many of those voices out there are really waking the individual up to who they truly are and their relationship with themselves. Like it's always kind of this constant, like David, get off your knees and like kind of not fight the system, but an Alex Jones, and it's like, it's all of this stuff about the external enemy, right? The external confrontation, I don't know why I'm talking about this, I think it's important, but like, it's not so much about who you are as an individual. The focus is so much external. Fight back, wake the others up, whatever it is, stop this train heading in this direction. And I don't think we're going to stop any train from moving in any direction on a global level. I'm talking about on an individual level, where the individual can pull back and realize what they're doing here, what their mission and purpose is about, Like with this friend of mine that I was talking about, who, I'll come back to what I'm saying, who I've been helping, assisting, I don't know if that's the word, just engaged with, just relating to, and what I can do, which I don't even know if I can do, but trying. But it's like, I keep saying to her, this is what you're seeing on this is all the surface stuff. She says, what do you mean the surface stuff? I said, it's more than just this. I said, we are two souls that have met, we are two people that have met in the times that we are living in, because she's quite a conscious individual to a certain degree. Maybe she's getting her feet wet, And I say to her, this is about one soul reminding another soul of who they truly are and what they're capable of. And that we're on this divine journey. What divine journey? Like, what are you talking about? I said, what do you mean? I didn't shout like that, but then I realized, like, oh my word. Like, you think that this life is the be all and the end all, and that we're just here to try and find, a sense of some kind of order and peace, which is part of it. But it's so much bigger than that. It's so much bigger. It's so much more universal. What happens if we live lifetime after lifetime, increasing and upgrading the level and the quality of our soul, of our spirit? What happens if that's the case? And all this stuff is just the stage. All the material is just the stage. All of the whatever it is just the stage. Like even the relationship with one's daughter or son, or whatever it is, all of it is just props. What's behind the story of it all is the purpose of soul growth. Again, society and culture's got us chasing the dream of the white picket fences of, come on, kitty, 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 as Alan Watts would say. They get you into high school and they get you into, university. You're almost there. Come on, little kitty. You get your job and then you get your retirement, and then they just pull you along, and try get this and try get this and try find, whatever, just like stability, so to speak, or accomplishment within it. And there is part of it. It's not that isn't a part of it. There is part of it. But you've got to understand it's all transient, right? And you're going to see what is infinite, what really matters, what really counts. About how comfortable you are in this life in a way, like secured in a way, you've got your, and which is important obviously and responsible, to have your pensions, to have your retirement, whatever it is, to etc. Just those are all important, but the emphasis is so much on that. It's just so much on the physical, not realizing on a soulful level. It's more like the days of the week or the months of the year, but not maybe the astrological meaning behind it and what's going on within the universe, within the cosmos, within the logos, within the stars, right? Like, most people are not aware of that at all. Most people do not consider what happens when we die. Most people don't consider what it is that we're doing here. And the religions, to a large degree, have been hijacked and are misdirecting people, Like, to believe that, I'm sorry to say, I think Christianity, the story of Jesus is, and the teachings and the parables and it's just unbelievable. But for people to believe that if you call upon this man to be your saving grace, your Lord and Savior and your Master, and therefore you've been saved, and therefore you're taken care of, then you've been fooled, you've been tricked, you've been lied to, you've been deceived, and you're only deceiving yourself, because that's not the be all and end all. It's not such a simple solution. It can't be that way. It can't be the way that if I just stick to my religion and the laws of my religions, and I pray the way that I do, that it's going to be suffice, it's going to be enough. And this is the answer, and this is the way, and God will preserve a seat for me in the kingdom of heaven, or something or other. It's childish. So much of it is absolutely childish. It's just as childish as we think, well, if we have children and, have a good job, a stable job, and we have a stable living income, whatever it is, and kids go to good schools or something or other, that we think that's success and that's what it's about. You see, they've got us so focused on, like, it's frightening how narrow-minded they've got us focused. Anyways. So we wish for people to broaden their horizons, broaden their dimension of seeing, of perspective, broaden their idea of experience, broaden their heart, right? Love deeper, right? Think deeper, feel deeper, experience deeper. Don't just be on the surface of things. And so we desire that for people anyway. So coming back and ending off, that you and I have spent a lot of time, with people that we might not necessarily, have wished to spend a lot of our life with, because it hasn't been very deeply reflecting. It hasn't been deeply meaningful. They haven't really, utilized our love, right? They haven't really valued it. They haven't really made much with it at all. Right, and our service and our being and our leading by example, and our messages and whatever it might be, our reminders of who they're, like, a lot of that has just fallen on deaf ears. It's fallen on deaf ears, and that's a grief. That's for us to grieve. That is for us to grieve. And it can be in your husband that you've always wanted to, believe that he would wake up and he would come around, and he never did. It could be your child who's been the addict and could never get off the booze or the drugs or something like that, and no matter how much you tried and assisted and helped and loved, and they just couldn't do it, or something or other, or to show people, or to help, or whatever it might, it's endless. You can, the girlfriend that just didn't quite understand you, and I've spoken about my lady friend, and I suppose this is what also inspires this talk, is that I have these hard-hitting moments whereby I realize that, like, I've given and supported, and the opportunities that I've given to her and other people recently, like 90% of what I've given, only 10% has been utilized. And it's like, oh, what a waste. And not only that, but it's like, can you see me? Can you see who I am? Because I'm different. And you know that I'm different. Yes, I'm quirky, I'm weird, I'm strange. But can you see my soul? Can you see my spirit? Can you feel my soul? Can you feel my spirit? No, you cannot, because you don't even know what that is. You don't even understand what that is. And sometimes I blame you because you don't want to try and understand. Maybe you're scared to understand. But I've accepted that you don't want to understand. I've surrendered to it, because you can take the horse to the water so many times, but you can't make it drink. You know, and then eventually you realize, okay, enough's enough. And you surrender, and it breaks your heart. And then that sort of crushing reality sets in, that massive divide between yourself and that person, boom! You know, slams down, and for like in a way, and you're like, oh my word, this is where they are at, and this is who they will be, and this is where they're not going anywhere really. This is their destiny. This is what they want for themselves. They are just existing, but they're not really experiencing, in a way. And whatever, you know what I'm saying. And so you realize at the same time, well, you know, how much heart and love and you've poured into that, how much self-sacrifice, how much compromise, you know, because we're just working with what we have. We're working with the people that in our lives that have, you know, the universe has brought into our lives, because we're not surrounded by conscious individuals, heartfelt individuals, you know, we're not deep individuals. We're not surrounded by that, right? And so we're making do with, oh, well, I happened to marry this person and I woke up. I managed, you know, these children, and then I woke up, you know, whatever it is. I got into this contract and then I woke up, and you realize, okay, I'm just dealing with the people that are surrounding me, my neighbors, my colleagues, my cousins, you know, whatever it is. A lot of people we've managed to cut out of our lives, and most of us spend very, very lonely lives. That's also a very, very, very difficult thing to understand. Very difficult. It's like, well, you know, if I've got all this love to give, why am I so alone? What's wrong with the world? What's wrong with people? Right? If I've got so much to offer, if I've got so much to guide and aid, because I've been blessed. I'm talking about for myself and for you. We've been blessed to have this awareness, this consciousness, this insight, the heart, the sensitivity, the empathy, the patience, whatever it might be. And so we are responsible. We are not just responsible, we have a great desire to do the same for others to achieve just the same. We really do. We don't want to see them walking the plank. But yet a lot of people are not interested. A lot of people just don't want to know about it. It's not their time. And so we surrender to that. But then again, that crushing reality of this is who they are, this is where they're at, right? Then you realize, well, just your relationship is just going on repeat. It's just repeat. You know, and probably for themselves, for anyone who's not really getting better, sometimes they're getting a lot worse. They're not growing, they're stunted. Anyways, I'm going to end up on that. But again, you know, it's a grieving process for myself. There's a lot of grieving this morning. There's a lot of like realization, oh my word, this has been going on for however long it has been going on. You know, this is how desperate it has been. This is how, you know, alone I have been. This is how much love I've given out, so much support I've given out. This is how much guidance I've given out, you know, whatever it is. And yet so much of it has just been in vain. And that's okay. I mean, it's not okay, but it is the way that it is. And that's just a heartbreak. And this reality is about a heartbreak to a large degree. You know, and so I'm just grieving at the moment. I'm grieving the process and how wonderful it would really be to have somebody in my life, physically. I mean, I've got people, but they're all overseas. To physically have people in my life, to live with them on a day-to-day basis. How joyous that would be, who could recognize me and I could recognize them. You know, and bring out the best of who we are for ourselves and for one another. Whee! Thanks for taking the time, for listening, for taking part. Much love.